and emptiness and pray to a God which helps not. Like, I think the Torah and the Siddur understands that we're all going to hate, and we're all going to be bigoted, and so this like channels our hate, to saying, well, they all pray to a God that hears not. I mean, it's kind of satisfying. It's like you've got such a difficult life being a Torah Jew, but like one of the few rewards is that you can look down on all the Goyim and say they pray to a God which hears not.
I know that that's
By
gratifying.
a carpenter from Nazareth.
But Luke, that's a problem because that's not. Yes, it is. Look, we are primates, and it is downward comparison is a source of gratification for primates. But the reality is that like that doesn't come from. You can get past that. There's a reason why downward comparison is gratifying, and like ultimately our ideal, I think, is to get to the place where no, I don't need to diminish other people in my own eyes because they're not a threat to me. I mean, they're just who they are, and they're doing their own thing, and I've got my own thing, and whether they're awesome or shitty, like that's kind of their bag.
What about that bit in the Passover Seder towards the end where you open the door and you say, God, pour out your wrath on the Goyim? I think that's pretty sweet.
It's and I said it before myself, it's tittillating. And it can be, and the reality is you identify, because you identify with this community more than I do, it's gratifying for you. But Luke, this is part of the reason I say I don't like communities, is because like I also don't want, because that's a temptation, man. It's a temptation to, yes, I want to smite them down, I want to make them small, I want to make them shitty. That's an addiction, just like sex can be an addiction, or like drugs can be an addiction. Like.
And on Rosh Hashanah, when you're supposed to eat various symbolic foods mentioned in the Talmud, and if you eat on page 768 here of the Art Scroll Siddur, you eat leeks or cabbage, you say the blessing first. May it be your will, Hashem our God and the God of our forefathers, that our enemies be decimated.
for cabbage and what else?
Leek. Then if you eat beets, may it be your will, O God, that our adversaries be removed. If you eat dates, may it be your will, O God, that our enemies be consumed. If you eat gourd, may it be your will, O God, that the decree of our Oh, that's not a very satisfying one.
Cabbage and leek are decimated. I'll remember
dates,
that.
Yeah, so
that's why cabbage and leek? Why would cabbage and leek prompt the desire for the decimation of one's enemies?
Dates, may our enemies be consumed.
So when you're eating, each act of eating is kind of a metaphor for chomping down on Goyim, in a way. A different source of.
It's like slitting their throats and using their blood for Passover.
Right.
Also.
Right. Yeah, it's well. I say when I say right, I don't mean because that's true and happened. Though there was a professor in Israel
right, very controversial,
and he's a very well regarded.
I think that book got pulled. He pulled the book.
But I got a book on the ritual uses of blood in Judaism and Christianity, and it did talk about he wasn't just anyway. But that would be, if that were real, if that really had happened, that we were drinking blood. I mean, it would be the same thing. It would be the same source of like, I'm eating you. It's conquest.
Yeah, it is conquest. Like that's part of the reward after you observe all the mitzvahs. You can like hate. It's kind of sweet.
I mean, it does seem to me that is the. Well, not even just after you observe all the mitzvahs. Like even while you're trying to observe some, you can still hate people who aren't even observing any.
Right.
Yeah, but that's why this is to me a primitive document, and by primitive I don't mean only. There are positive connotations to primitive also, but it because that's not something to strive for. That's something that we're supposed to develop from.
Group of people that you like hate.
There are lots of groups of people of which I occasionally have eruptions of anger. Okay, look, I'll be, and I've been straight about this in the past. I'm very progressive. I believe in interfaith dialogue, all that sort of thing. When I was in Ireland and was very politically active on Israel and other issues, I would feel eruptions of, because I was vastly outnumbered. It was me and many Muslims who were, many of them very kind and good, and a lot of Palestinians. There were times I had eruptions of internal anger, just indiscreetly directed towards Muslims. I just wanted bad things to happen to all of them, just to show them what was up and shut them up. Yes, you have those feelings, but those are not, I wouldn't get any pleasure out of actualizing it. I get more pleasure out of acknowledging them for what they are and being able to overcome them, because they're not who I want to be, kind of.
Well, Kundidi in the chat room says these guys couldn't get any sex in a hoe house with a pocket full of Benjamins.
Kundidi, no comment.
Maybe we don't want any. Maybe we don't find that kind of interaction meaningful. Maybe
Yes.
maybe you secular people.
That's right. You seculars, we take pleasure into safeguarding our chastity, Kundidi.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
if God sent us a skin disease.
What's up now?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's up? You bugged out. But theirs is the same thing. See, it's just, no, but it is.
See, they
it
don't
is
get
true.
it.
As
Sex is special for us in a way you secular people will never understand.
That's right. And as somebody who has now spent enough time in the presence of the Rebbe that I've taken upon, I'm holy. Seriously, the chastity, Kundidi, you only valorize that sort of indiscriminate conquest that you're talking about, because you're not
You're on a very low
you're
level.
on a very low spiritual plane.
Because you pray to a God that hears not.
Yeah, your
You
God
pray to the
hears
God
not.
of sex, but he listens not.
Let's hear some pickup lines from you two degenerates. Kundidi, if you think it's about pickup lines,
That just
then you
shows
don't even
how
know
low-
how to get it. Like
That just shows how low you are.
Kundidi.
You don't know what's up. I mean, because I just got to say, we put our hope in you, God, that we may soon see your mighty splendor, to remove detestable idolatry from the earth, like what Kundidi's talking about.
Uh-huh.
False gods will be utterly cut off, like our man Kundidi.
Castrated.
Perfect the universe, then all humanity will recognize you, the one true God. Every knee shall bow, and people will cast themselves down, and they'll...
And that is a false idol. I mean, that is idolatry. The ultimate sin in Judaism is anything that you value greater than you value Hashem. That is an idol. So in Kundidi's case, it's his desire to be able to
walk into whorehouses.
to walk in a whorehouse and score.
Yeah.
But he'd be putting out for these two.
Can you imagine any self-respecting female putting out for these two?
I know, and it's been a couple weeks now since Monica and it's true.
That hurts. That really hurts. That smote me like right here. But frankly, Kundidi, you bow to vanity and emptiness, and you pray to a God that helps not.
Yeah.
So take that, guy.
All right, but hold on. I am interested in this because I think we are hitting on something fundamental here. Lech Lecha is when God tells Avram, Lech Lecha, this is the seminal moment in the creation of Israel and Judaism and the Jewish people. So, and here we are, 2,700 years after Lech Lecha, and we're talking about what the tradition, what that has produced, what Lech Lecha has produced after almost 3 millennia. And you are an Orthodox man, and you're telling me that you do not feel that there must be something more. I mean, there must be something more to you in the tradition than just the permission to not only hate the other, but to make that the focus of a spiritual life.
Well, I don't think hating the other is the focus of the spiritual life, but I mean, when you read all these words and you believe them, then you believe that you've got divine truth and other people don't have so much. In which it's kind of, you sleep well at night that way.
But I mean, I think divine truth then should be its own reward. It shouldn't be. You shouldn't need.
You shouldn't need to put down others. Is that what you're saying? You shouldn't need to put down others. Well, when you feel like you have the truth, you shouldn't feel the need to put down others.
Yes,
the Siddur and the Bible clearly disagree with you.
That's amazing.
It's all the prayer book and the Bible and the Jewish tradition filled with putting down of others.